step I take, I move my truth. Every time they tell me stop, I use every comment, hate that makes my fuel. Gather up my energy and boom, I hear them talking, saying the way that I move is so reckless. That is a part of my mind I've been blessed with, giving my blood so I am relentless.
This is the Keep Hammering Collective. I'm with Brian Barney. Brian, thank you for coming to Springfield, Oregon.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for the invite, man. It was amazing. We were able to grind and go have an adventure together. It just doesn't get any better.
So tell me, you've been watching, I think you've seen the show and maybe seen some of the podcast. How was it? Was it what you expected? Was it different, or what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think I expected to go hard and I expected to grind, but it's different when you're in that moment too. Mm-hmm. It's like you can have all these expectations, but until you're there climbing the mountain, until you're there in the heat, you don't really know what to expect. So I knew we were going to go for it, and yeah, you definitely met my expectations, if not exceeded them, and able to grind. And then to, like, when you share an adventure, when you share difficult things together, it's really like this amazing experience that's like a closer friendship than you get like sharing a beer with somebody or something. So yeah, it was everything I could have hoped for.
Oh, good. Well, I mean, you know, to catch people up to speed, Brian works for Eastman's, and Eastman's is like, for those that don't know, you know, in the hunting industry or hunting community, they're, you know, man, they've been in the game forever. Gordon Eastman started filming hunts back in what year was that? Do you know?
Yeah, like the 60s or 70s, exploring Canada for Dall sheep, the Northwest Territories. Yeah, yes. He was like one of the first ones to do it, outdoor films.
He's a pioneer.
Absolutely.
And so the Eastman's family has just been so steeped in tradition. And for those that don't know, again, I worked for Eastman's for about 10 years, and they launched the Bowhunting magazine, Eastman's Bowhunting Journal. I was involved in that, and they really gave me my first shot at a real job in the outdoor industry. It's like the debt, I'm indebted to them for that opportunity, because here was I was some dipshit bow hunter from Oregon, which Oregon isn't known for trophy anything or great hunting or anything noteworthy. And they gave me, they're in Wyoming, some of the best hunting. They've been, you know, involved in filmmaking forever, and they took a chance on me. So you fast forward to when I left 2008, and then Brian comes in, and it's almost like, I don't want to say mirrored the same journey, but it's a similar story. Tell me how you got started with Eastman's.
So similar. The same as Gordon was a pioneer. You were a pioneer for bow hunters and paving the way. And you paved the way through grit, determination, and hard work, and also consistent results, being able to arrow consistent trophies and then writing about them. And you got yourself noticed by writing stories and telling about your adventure, by honing your craft and becoming a proficient bow hunter. And so you really paved the way. And to be honest, a lot of my mentality came from like running to the post office box to get your articles when you were the editor of Eastman's Bowhunting Journal. It was just like, out of all the literature that I wrote or all the literature that I read and all the information I took in, like, yours spoke to me, like your mindset, but really your passion for it, like how much you loved it and how you put absolutely everything into it. So me, as a young 20-year-old kid that moved from the Pacific Northwest to Montana, I immersed myself in the world, and I embraced that mindset, and I embraced that passion for it. And I fell in love with the process and with the journey of improving and becoming really good with my bow, and really good in the most rugged, wildest places in the lower 48. And I started finding consistent success. And so I started writing about that success and talking about my adventures in different places. And, you know, it probably took me twice as many articles to get noticed, but after you get published 10 times in a magazine, finally they start to pay attention and go, hey kid, yeah, we're thinking about giving you a chance for an actual paid article. And I've been writing for free this whole time, but it's not writing for free. It's also like I'm reinvesting in myself. I'm betting on myself. And to become to make a living in the outdoor industry is a bit like trying to become a movie star. There's not many guys that make it, and everybody tells you that it's not possible. You can't hunt for a living. But I had this belief in myself and in the direction where I was going. So really, I just followed the path that you laid down of hard work and dedication and really working hard to hone my craft at bow hunting. Started getting noticed. They gave me a chance at staff articles, then gave me a chance at doing some film work, and every chance I was given, I proved myself and came out on top. And then, I had this idea to start the podcast, and now we've been going 8 years strong. And I just, I had more information that I wanted to get out there. There's so many nuances to bow hunting and becoming proficient about it. And so it really started to connect with hunters and took off. And now I'm to the place where I've really made a good name in the hunting industry. And I just want to continue to strive forward and be at my best and be a student of the game and get even better, man. I'm not at my limits yet.
No, the goal is to get better every day. Better today than yesterday, better tomorrow than today. And I saw the effort you put forth and everything that we did with the lift, run, shoot. I mean, for those that don't know, most people in the archery industry probably know Brian is a great shot, but the work that he put in the training today and running yesterday is that's what sets him apart also, because there's a lot of great shots out there that don't kill. You can be a great shot standing on the line on a course, and that's much different than when the chips are down, when you've had to earn every opportunity. The mountains are unforgiving. The mountains aren't giving you any breaks. The animals aren't giving you any breaks. And so I see why you're successful, because I see how hard you work in the training and the preparing. And I've watched your journey and over the course of your career too. And I love it. I love it when hard work is rewarded. That's how life is supposed to be. Life isn't fair all the time. Sometimes it doesn't work that way, but for you, it has worked that way, and it's great to see. I was curious. You said you started writing. What was your first article?
My first article was a Nevada muley that I killed, and I killed him on a solo trip. And I was by myself 11 days deep into the Nevada backcountry, and it's in this giant wilderness in there. And I'd done some mule deer hunting, and I definitely hunted around my home state, but this was a big adventure hunt for me. And so by yourself, 10 days in the wilderness, or longer, 12 days, whatever it took me to kill this buck, you don't get to hide from yourself very much. Your true colors come out, and you have to face yourself and difficult things. And so I was able to arrow this great buck in the Nevada backcountry. And so that was my first article. But man, I didn't pay attention in high school like I was supposed to. I was too into sports. I'm really good at learning about the things I'm interested in, and then I go all in. So I didn't pay as much attention as I should have with my spelling or my grammar. And so it's something that I'm all self-taught. So when I started getting interested in writing articles, it's like this difficult format where you have to be able to express your passion for it. And you have to be able to take readers on this journey with your wordsmithing. And so it was something that I really had to work at and hone my skills and write a bunch to really let my passion come forth on the paper. And so, yeah, it's something that I had to work at. But that was my first article, was Nevada backcountry, a great big giant buck that I arrowed deep into the hunt.
That's great. And yeah, as much like my journey, my first articles, I didn't get paid. Then I remember I got paid $25. I wrote for Oregon Hunter magazine. And just like you, writing is not easy. You're trying to paint a picture with words, and you want to put the reader there. And it took me a while to figure that out. I was so interested in just telling my story from my perspective. And then I was like, well, wait, this isn't for me to read. I already know what happened. I need to take the reader there. And it sounds easy. Words make it sound easy, but to do it is difficult. And so, yeah, I remember I'd send articles into, the dream was to get in Bowhunter, one of the big magazines, right? Bowhunter and Peterson's, and they were like, no, you suck. So yeah, rewrite it, try again. I never wanted to rewrite anything, but I remember, I would see Eastman's, and it was a big glossy magazine, giant animals. And that was for a Western hunter, that was the dream, to make Eastman's, and I have to hand it to them. They've navigated the changing landscape of media, because at the time, it was Eastman's Journal, then Eastman's Bowhunting Journal. Then there was like a Trophy Hunter magazine. There was other magazines that were very similar, but they were all trying to kind of copy Eastman's. Eastman's set the standard essentially. So to make that was the pinnacle at that time. But now magazines they're still around. I mean, Eastman still has a magazine, but they've done a good job. And I mean, it sounds like you kind of suggested the podcast maybe, and maybe that was your push. But in general, they have other podcasts, they have magazines, they have internet-based information, and it seems like they've just evolved. Mm-hmm. And so I got to hand it not just to Gordon first for paving the way, then Mike for having this vision of making it, he had, a few other people involved, and then his kids became involved, Guy and Ike Eastman, who I think run the show now. But it's been impressive what they've been able to do as far as how everything's changed, and they're still there at the top.
Yeah, they're adapting to a changing landscape, which is great. Yeah, and being able to excel in those different media formats, which is awesome. It's like doing the podcast right now. Like, how beautiful are podcasts, man?
Yeah.
I mean, they've only been around, like I've had mine for 8 years, but they're not that old. Mm-mm. But it's something that you can do while you're active, while you're doing other things, while you're getting a workout, while you're getting a run, while you're driving to work. You can be taking in this information, and this information that's given out on these podcasts have taken guys like me and you a lifetime to learn, to hone our craft at bow hunting and to figure out how to stalk animals or to shoot effectively, or like your mindset. For people to be able to listen into your podcast and get your mindset and mentality that you take into bow hunting, but really that you take into life. It's amazing that everybody can tap into that and listen to that in their headphones and apply it to their own life. Now that information is out there, and you put it out to guys, just like I don't hold any secrets back. I talk about everything that makes me a successful Western bow hunter, all the lessons I've learned. I put that information out there, but then it's up to the people to take that information and to apply it to their own lives. So people hear this podcast, and then they have to act on it, and they have to start taking those steps to gain that mentality. And mentality isn't something that you can just wish you had. You have to grind and earn it. Like, you got to put in the work day in, day out. You got to be in uncomfortable situations over and over and over again to callous your mind to build this mentality. And now you've done a great job of doing it. Now you're sharing it with everybody that listens into this podcast, and everybody has an opportunity to take that and go make something out of themselves. That's beautiful, man.
Yeah. Well, it's not, when you say that, I don't think it's my mentality, because I feel like I'm learning from my guests. You know what I mean? I don't think I do anything noteworthy other than maybe suffer a little more than other people want to. But, because you talk about earning that mentality. And then I think about, we did a good run yesterday, a few thousand feet of gain. And as you can attest, I like doing it. That'd be hard enough anyway. So in my head, I'm like, how do we make it harder? Oh, it's going to be 90 today? Let's do it when it's the absolutely hottest part of the day. And then when we're on that straight stretch heading towards Pisgah, it's absolute, heat coming off the asphalt. We've already got in 15 miles. That's where, for me personally, I'm like, finally, because anybody else would be like, they'd be, I don't really like running in the heat. I like running in the morning when it's cool. Yeah, well, no shit. Who doesn't? But this is why we're doing it, because nobody else wants to do it. I mean, did that make sense yesterday? I mean,
100%, man. That's the difference.
And you do it too, right? Is that your goal also when you're training?
100%. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it's you're embracing it. So the same way people are learning from this podcast, you're learning from your guests and your influences and the people that you're friends with, and you're taking that mentality and applying it to your own life and your own passions. But yeah, the difference between you is like you're always looking for it to be tougher. Yesterday, you're running in a black shirt, which is hotter, which you never took off. You're running on the asphalt. The hotter it got, the happier you are. And you told me at the end, I wish it would have got hotter for us. So it's like that's your mentality, is you're always looking for it to be tougher. And I think embracing difficult situations like that. Like, life is all about perspective. It's all about how you look at it. And you can look at it and go, man, this is shitty. It's super hot. And you can give into that and give up on the hunt. Or you embrace and go, man, I wish it was hotter. Now I'm really improving. And yeah, on that last stretch that got hot on that asphalt, you picked up your pace and went even faster and tried to hurt even more, you know? So that's what you've done a really good job of embracing, is your perspective on things and wanting it to be difficult. And me, like, you can show me a great 4-point buck that's easy a mile from the trail. I'm going to want to go 10 miles back to go find that buck that nobody's found, even if he's not as big.
Right.
Like, I want it to be difficult. I want to hurt. I want to push myself, because the more you put into something, the more it means to you when you achieve it, you know? So, yeah.
I agree. Well, how is it that so you're from Washington originally. I'm from Oregon. Those are, if you had to pick the worst states in the West, those two would be right at the top of the list. Right? So how does two guys from, I mean, we shouldn't succeed in hunting, because the best hunting, of course, everybody knows, Wyoming, Utah, Colorado, Montana, everywhere but Washington and Oregon. So how did you find your way to the industry and to the top of the industry where now you're a respected name? How did that happen?
Yeah, I think, you know, like, being a quality bow hunter, you know, it's not just being a good shot. It's not just being physically fit. It's like so multifaceted of all these different skill sets you have to work at and become proficient at. But I think the bottom line is like, with all these people that you have that sit across from you, like, it's passion. It's a love for it. It's this burning desire to do whatever it takes to find success. And whatever it takes isn't just on a 7-day hunt or a 10-day hunt. It's a bow hunting lifestyle 365 days a year, where you dedicate yourself and you think about it every day and every night when you lay your head down on the pillows. Like, did I do everything I can do to be the best bow hunter I can be? And it's the long game. It's not a week worth of work, a month worth of work, a year worth of work. It's years of your life of dedicating absolutely everything you have to that craft. So I think for me, you know, it all starts with the passion and the love for it, and not just falling in love with the results of standing behind a great big 6-point bull, or not just falling in love with the results of the accolades of people from the industry or social media. For me, it's an absolute love of bow hunting. It's a love of the endurance of it. It's a love for the adventure in wild places. And so I think for me, it's like everybody else that you've interviewed, it comes down to passion and a love for it. Don't you think?
Yeah, of course. I mean, because, you know, we talk about, so why would you run in the heat of the day? To me, that's nothing compared to the challenges of a hunt. You know what I mean? So if you can't do that, push yourself to do that, you're probably not going to succeed in the mountains, because they're so much harder. It's so much harder than training. And that's what I would say. If your hunt is the hardest thing you've done, you're probably going to fail, because you're just not prepared for it. So we push ourselves in training because we know the hunt's going to be difficult, but we might got to make the training even that much harder. And because of that, but the reason why you're able to do that is because it's deep inside you. It's your heart. It's your passion. It's what drives you every day. It's what you think about, as you said, 24/7. And if you don't, you know, I mean, I'll be honest, I haven't had many just straight up hunters on here. It's always, people, you know, some fighters dabble in hunting and this and that, are very passionate about hunting, but you are a hunter, a bow hunter. And I haven't had people on here like this because I've been involved in the industry for so long, and I've seen so many, God, I don't know what to say. There's ego, you know, I have an ego too, so I can't really blame people for having an ego, but hunters, they like to talk shit sometimes, and it's so competitive. People want to stand out. Do they want to stand up because they love bow hunting, or do they want to stand up because they love attention? And if it's attention, I don't like that. That irritates me. If you love bow hunting, you're not usually talking shit about another bow hunter, right? If you love attention, then you're talking shit about people who get more attention than you. You have always been somebody who, I've listened to your podcast. I read your writing. I see what you're doing. I don't see you talking shit. I see you wanting to get better, embracing the challenge, loving the passion of what we do. And so I'm like, that's the guy I want, because you listen to a lot of guys who might call themselves, whatever. People love talking about how tough they are. And for hunters, it's like, listen, yeah, hunting can be hard, but you're doing it 1 month out of the year, right? I mean, if you're just hunting and you're not training, you're not doing all this, that's 1 month. You're not that tough if that's all you do. If you're training for that 1 month, for 11 months, now you got my attention, all right? And the guys who do that aren't the ones talking shit. That's you. You train every day to be the best for a month. Is that right? I mean, you hunt more than a month, but for me, my whole world revolves around September, and that's bucks and bulls. But I just appreciate your mindset, the way you carry yourself, you're respectful, and you fucking work your ass off. So that's why you're here as my first, just all out, straight up bow hunter. I love what you stand for.
Man, it's like the best compliment I could get. And man, it means so much to me that you would invite me here to Oregon and invite me to work out and invite me to be on the podcast. It's a big platform, and it means the world to me that you'd share some of the following that you've worked so hard, and that you'd share it with a fellow bow hunter, and not to say competition, but really sharing it with your competition. And so like it just absolutely means the world to me. And there's just like nothing but respect on my side of the work that you put in, and not only like the opportunity to come here and be on a platform, or maybe pick up some listens on my podcast, but the opportunity to learn from you and the work that you put in, and your mindset and your approach to bow hunting. Like, I'll get more out of that than I'll ever get anybody listening to the podcast or anybody following me. So just to be able to learn from you and be invited here, like, man, it's a dream come true. Like, you've worked really hard to create this, and to invite an average guy, blue collar carpenter, to be on your podcast, or an average bow hunter, like, man, it's amazing. And so I just want to fill those shoes and be able to have some good workouts with you and learn from you and lay down a good podcast. But this is such a huge opportunity for me to learn from you. And man, I mean, it's like a lot of the mentality I had started by, reading your articles and reading your book and your passion for it and passion for bow hunting. That's where a lot of mine stem from. Now, it's like, anybody can look at a Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan and say, I love that guy's jump shot. They're not going to become that guy. But you have to make your own path in life and find your own path. So a lot of that like lit a fire under me. And then, as I started seeing success, as I started like being fulfilled in the bow hunting world and these huge adventures, I started making my own path and then carving my own way through it. But that, it all started by running to my mailbox, reading your articles. Your articles, you talk about writing. You are so good at writing, like to be a young 20-year-old kid and to get your magazine. And back then there wasn't podcasts, there wasn't videos, or not many that you could watch. There was this magazine that showed up in my mailbox every other month, and it had your writing in it in the beginning, and it had your articles in there, and you talked about your passion for bow hunting. And it was like, man, it was the one thing that spoke to me. And I wasn't set up to succeed as a kid. Broken family. I lost my mom fairly young at 19. Everybody's been through tough times. Life isn't easy for anybody, and you can get caught up in feeling sorry for yourself. You can get caught up in making excuses for things. Or you can go out and you can go bust your ass and make a really good life for yourself. And that carries over to everything I do. It's not just bow hunting that I succeed at. It's a father, a husband, it's my business, it's my personal investments. Like, I take that mentality into everything I do. But it's a big part in what you wrote in those magazines. So like, just the weight of your words, and now you being able to reach all these people on your platform and give them this information, you're going to have like a lot of go-getters that, you know, maybe they're great bow hunters, but maybe they're just great at life, man. I mean, that's a pretty beautiful thing, you know, and it all started with just like that, like reading that passion that came off those pages, man. It's such motivation.
Thank you. It's I want to say I didn't know you lost your mom when you were 19. I mean, what happened?
A suicide.
Really?
Yeah, she just got to a really dark place. She held her, like she was a really good mom throughout life, and a lot of it was a single mom, or I had a stepdad that was an alcoholic and abusive, and yeah, I mean it wasn't the best life, but you know, my mom, we had a very clean house. We had dinner together every single night, which I still carry that tradition into my family. She was a good mom that always supported my wrestling and came to my events. And she just got to a dark place. She had lost her job. And then, you know, it's almost like she had too much pride to just go get a job and go make money. She wanted another good job like she had. And, you know, I'm sure drugs and alcohol played a part in it. And she got to a dark place. And, yeah, I mean, it was a bit of a shocking surprise that I was 19. And man, it's just tough to lose your mom at 19. And then also I have a younger sister that found her at 16, you know, so it was really tough on her as well. Mm. And so now my sister lives in Montana. She's got a great family of her own. And there was like some weird stuff around the death. It was like in a car with the exhaust pipe in the window, and there's like this weird thing, like note written on the dartboard that said Mark did it, you know, and there's like all this weird stuff surrounding it. Like, I still don't know, you know, I've accepted that she killed herself, but I still don't know, you know, I don't know. The cops said, well, there was no broken entry, or there was no, but who knows? He could have been there. He was fairly abusive as well, you know, so I don't know. He could have been behind it all. But you talk about tough times, and we all go through tough times in life. But yeah, that was a real challenge for me, for sure.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, it's life deals us hard times, but you know, that's not a typical one. And I'm sorry to hear that. It's but yeah, I don't know. It's awful.
But she'd be proud of me now, and proud of my sister now. And, you know, she was a really good mom that always provided, always cared for. She just got to a really dark place. And I feel bad for people that get there. But, you know, I have to know that same thing that happened to her, like that's in our DNA, and something I have to keep tabs on, you know, and not that I get depressed or I get negative, but my life can definitely get out of balance. So I have to live a fulfilling life, and I have to keep myself up. And I just, I know that, you know, that's half of my DNA, you know, so it's something where I have to keep tabs on my sister, and and she keeps herself up and has a great family, but I have to watch out for my own family. And I just know that my mom would want me to live a happy and fulfilling life. She'd want me to care for my wife, care for my kids. And so I just try to carry that on. And I mean, the pain cuts really deep, even now, 20 years down the road. But, you know, you can't change it, and you just have to make the most out of this life with the time that you have. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you are. I mean, as you said, I'm sure she'd be proud if she could see you now and could see the impact you're having on others. I think that's one thing that stands out. So knowing that, it's like, then I think about the podcast I've listened to with you and your mindset, and it makes more sense, because you're always, the twist you put on everything is a positive one. You know, you're looking at, how do I get better? How do I improve? You know, I've even heard you say, and I had a hard time, to be honest, not accepting it, but like getting it 100%. But you'll say, well, you shot at a buck, and I can't remember if it was an axis buck or a mule deer buck, but you hit a tree, or maybe you missed it, but you were proud of the process, because you know you did everything right. You released a great arrow and it just missed, or it did something. So you were like, to me, I can't turn a fucking miss into a positive, dude. I can't. I would just be like, I don't care about anything other than I just missed that fucking chance. So, but you look at the positive. I'm like, oh, I cut loose a great arrow. And now it makes sense. And it's like, okay, well, Yeah, that's part of Brian's journey. That's what he does. So, do you know the story I'm talking about?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, to elaborate on it. Yeah.
As we all know, I've been putting all my guests through a pretty good cardio session on Mount Pisgah. GoRuck is a welcome new addition to the podcast and Lift, Run, Shoot series. I love the 80-pound sandbags, but I'm not sure how my guests feel about it. But what do they say? Pain is weakness leaving the body. All the people at GoRuck are beasts, and I'm thrilled to partner with them. We use the rucks and sandbags on almost every episode, and now you can take your training to the next level as they are offering listeners 10% off when you use code CAM, C-A-M, at GoRuck.com. See you guys on the mountain. You better not forget that weight. Breeo is the first smokeless fire pit in the world designed around the idea of producing less smoke, all while allowing the surfaces to evenly cook your favorite cut of meat. The grill is easy to use, portable, and a must for elk camp. With season right around the corner, add a Breeo to the list and have your campfire and camp stove all in one. They have a number of different patio setups as well as hunting setups, so head to Breeo.co and order yours today.
So I just know that executing correctly, that more animals will die. That if I can execute good shots, like my odds are going to go up of killing those animals. My perfect shots, I'm going to make more of them. And I would rather execute properly and miss that animal than to punch my trigger and kill that animal. That doesn't feel good to me. So for me, it's getting control of my shot process and my mind executing correctly. And I know when I execute correctly, 95 or 99% of those animals are going to die. Now, if I cheat that process and I punch my trigger or I get my pin just where it needs to go and I say, now, I know that my odds, I'm still going to kill a lot of those animals, but it's going to go down to 70%. So that's exactly right. As I had snuck up on a big axis buck, I had made a great stalk and I had crawled up and I was in this herd with all these deer around. And I've wanted to kill a giant axis, which is a 30-inch is what those guys consider a giant. And so I'd crawled up and this 30-inch axis buck walked out and he was broadside and he was 45 yards and he just stepped out beyond the tree where he exposed his vitals. So the tree is blocking like the guts, liver. I can see the lungs and the heart, and then there's the shoulder. So I have this tight window to stick my arrow.
How far?
45 yards.
Okay.
So I drew back, I'm from my knees, and my pin is just wavering from the shoulder to the tree, right in those vitals. And
for those that don't know, you can't hold your pin exactly steady. It's not like a crosshair on a rifle.
Yep.
It's like that pin is going to move a little bit.
Got to trust the float. Right. Yeah, exactly. And so I trusted the float, kept pulling on my shot. The shot broke, and I hit the edge of that tree by maybe a half inch. You know, I can't believe it didn't graze off the tree and then get him in the vitals. So I had missed him and hitting that tree, and it hurt. I hate missing, you know, but I had executed correctly. And I know when I execute correctly, animals are going to die. And now for the rest of the season, like to execute that way, I know I'm going to kill some great bucks and some great bulls. And I know eventually I'll kill my 30-inch axis. And it happened this year on great execution, executed my shot, perfect arrow. He went and died. He was 32 and a half tall. I killed my 30-inch buck. It just took me a little bit longer than I thought. But yes, I can look at the positive of that stuff because I did execute correctly. And so for me, it's all about perspective. I don't get bogged down by the negative, or I try to grab the silver lining. And I fail. To be a quality bow hunter, to be good at anything in life, like failure is the building blocks to success. Like you have to fail over and over and over again. And now you can either get drowned by your failure or you pick yourself up, you get back after it, and you go find redemption and put that perfect arrow into an animal. And so I just try to look at things that way. And the only reason I'm any good at bow hunting is I've made every mistake. I've missed every animal. I've blown stalks. I've blown shots. But I look at it and I assess it, and I go out and prove from it, and I'm better the next time around. And it's like you want to learn from your mistakes and see what you did wrong. You have to drop your ego, and you have to really look at that encounter and drop your ego and go, okay, what did I do wrong? How could have I been better? But then you also have to forget it's like Tom Brady's thrown interceptions in the Super Bowl too, but he's not thinking about that when he's making a pass. It's like you're not going to succeed every single time. You're going to have these failures. Learn from them, get better, go on to the next one and go get them.
Yeah, no, that's great. Definitely great advice. I mean, easier said than done.
For sure.
So, yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I'm glad that redemption happened, and it probably just as we've learned in life, you fail, then it makes the success that much sweeter. So I'm sure that 32-inch buck this year felt like even better than normal, right?
Yes.
I do like that. So how do you, as you're around negative people? I mean, everybody is. There's a lot of people who are, life is full of challenges. Some people, yes, they see the glass half full. Some see it half empty. So how do you navigate around people with a negative mindset? What's your trick?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely difficult. It's like you can't lead a horse to water. You can't make him drink. Like you just try to spread positivity, and I try not to let that negativity affect me, and I try not to buy into it. Mm-hmm. It's like everybody wants to shoot somebody down to make themselves feel better, and thank goodness you take a lot of the grief because your following's 10 times as big as me, that you deal with a lot of negativity, and guys love to hate you. They love to post negative. It's like it makes them feel better to like put you down and go, oh, Cam only does this because of this reason, or and it's the same with me. As guys will they'll come up with a reason of why I'm successful, and it's like to make themselves feel better. And so if it affects you, then that's when they're getting to you, or that's when they're winning. And so I try to pay no attention to what anybody's saying. It's like water off my duck's back. Mm-hmm. Like I just try to ignore it, don't give it any energy, and focus like on my own life, and just realizing that like I have my family, like I have real things that I have to do. Like I have a business I have to run, and a podcast I have to run. And the bigger you get, like the more hate you deal with. But I just try not to give it any energy, and try to focus on myself and self-improvement. And I'm really trying to be at my best. And that's, at my best is not just running a race or not just on a bow hunt. It's also being my best in life. Like interactions with people, doing what I say I'm going to do, following through. Like there's all these ways in life that you're going to be tested in this mind space. And so I just don't give it any energy, and I focus on what's right in front of me and what's important to me, and I let the rest fall away. And it doesn't always work. Like sometimes it gets to me, or I see a negative comment or something negative around me, and like put a little thought into it. But it's like a mental exercise of just going, hey, you're thinking about this too much. He's getting to you, or this is getting to you. Why are you thinking about some comment when you're out here running in the woods? Like, like it's like now he's getting to me. So I just try not to let it get to me, and I try to be at my best every single day and put forth the best effort I can, and then let the chips fall where they do. So I'd say that's where I try to keep that positive energy around me, just the way I look at the world.
Yeah. Well, if I think back on all the guests I've had here, and I think I just started this, so I'm pretty new, but we've had, 30 some podcasts. But if you think about, and I always say, I want to talk to outliers because I want to learn. My journey is to still improve every day, and I can learn from people who have been successful in their field. And each of those outliers who've been on here, the 30-some guests we've had, and I've spent days with them, training, doing different things, so positive. The people I've had on here, they're not talking shit about anybody. They're freaking giving their best to their life. And so I think there's a lesson to be learned, just as you explained, from all these people. And we've had, Olympic gold medalists. We've had, UFC fighters. We've had incredible ultra runners. They're just focused on doing their best and like how can they improve, and being grateful and thankful for the life they've been afforded, and they earn it, and they don't have time to be worried about somebody behind them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I like that, and it made me reflect on who I've talked to here on this podcast, and it makes a lot of sense. It's and it made me also think about to my journey, and I like back in the day, I did fight that because I thought that people, I had to prove people wrong. And so that was like, that's probably not the greatest approach to things. But then I think about the sweet part of that too. And I remember writing maybe the articles that you resonated with you back in the day. And I still remember everything about these hunts, but I wrote an article called Dreamcatcher. I wrote an article called Blood, Sweat, and Bulls. And when I think back to those experiences in the mountains by myself, having to overcome and then share that journey in the pages, and then maybe think that it influenced a young bow hunter like you, it's like, God, why was I even thinking about people who weren't on my side? But it's so weird. It's like, maybe we got to learn and mature, and it's just part of the process.
Well, you spun it a different way too. You took the David Goggins approach where you use that negative energy for your own positive, right?
Yeah.
As you used it for motivation. So yeah, it's not always the healthiest mind space to be in for sure, but it's also gotten you to where you needed to go. And so there is some of that, like proving yourself or proving people wrong. I don't get in that headspace too much, but I'm constantly trying to prove it to myself. Like each and every hunt, like I have to show up on the mountain. Like these bulls, when you show up, like they don't know you're Cameron Haynes. They don't know I'm Brian Barney. Like every elk season, and to kill a Montana mature 6-point bull or wherever I'm hunting, like those bulls don't know I'm Brian Barney. They don't know that I've killed a bunch of bulls or that I'm a successful bow hunter. I have to go out and prove it every single year.
Yeah.
And I have to have this drive and this mentality for every hunt I go on, and for every bull that I want to kill. I'm starting over at square one. No, these bulls don't know anything, and they're wild. Their instincts are keen. Like they're really tough animals to kill. Like I think, to bow hunt and to arrow a mature bull is one of the toughest challenges you can take on. And I just mean that you really have to get good at all these different skill sets, and then you have to capture lightning in a bottle and be clutch when you're given the opportunity to make a stalk or to make a shot. And so, like you have to find that inner motivation to show up on each and every hunt and be at your best. And so you just spun a lot of that negativity into your own positivity, into driving you to be better on these hunts and to be successful. So, it's like we all have different journeys, and we do mature and have a healthier mindset as we get older and we get better at life. But you used a lot of that for some good motivation and arrowed some good critters because of it too.
Yeah, I mean, I can't lie. I mean, I still use it now.
Yeah,
because as you said, I do get a lot of shade thrown my way, but it's all right because, I won. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be having this podcast and have people know me. It's like, no, I'm supposed to be from some little town in Oregon. So we've already won, haven't we?
Oh, 100%.
I mean, you can't, if I lost everything right now, it's like, I still won. I love it. That, you said how, you're proving yourself every time, because as we know, neither one of us have killed a bull yet this year, right? I haven't killed one. You haven't killed one. I don't even know how many I've killed, but I know I haven't killed one this year. So like all the pressure, and sometimes I get on these hunts and it is so hard, or there's so much pressure. You're thinking about it so much, and maybe things just don't go right out of the gate, or maybe it's a different year, or it's hot, or the moon, or whatever. And you're like, have I got lucky for all these? I mean, it seems like it's never going to happen. It seems almost impossible. And that's like, I think even though we've done it, I still have doubts at times, but that's why I work the way I do. So I can refer back and be like, no, I freaking busted my ass for this. It's going to happen. But do you have doubts ever?
Yeah, well, that's really encouraging to hear that I'm not the only one. Yeah, absolutely. It's sometimes it seems like mission impossible. Like you say, it may be the year, the unit that we're hunting, the elk that we're hunting. But sometimes I get there and I think, how have I ever arrowed a bull? Like this is the most difficult thing on planet Earth. And these hunts, you make the best plans for them, they never go as planned.
Right.
It's like you can lay the best plan and you get there and you're just going to face challenges that you couldn't foresee. They're not going to be elk in this unit. You're going to have to keep moving around and finding them. You're going to run into hunting pressure. Maybe the bulls are with the cows, and so they're in these huge groups. So you're trying to beat all these eyes of the cows, and so you get on these hunts, and like part of the skill set is being able to adapt and evolve to the conditions that you're given. So creative thinking is rewarded, and you have to, this is chess, not checkers. And so you get there, and that bull is not going to be standing at 40 yards broadside on every hunt, no matter where you're hunting at. No. It's going to be difficult, and you might just get this sliver of opportunity. But I've done it for long enough that I know if I continue to grind, that even though it may seem like I may never arrow a bull on this hunt, it's like eventually I'll get an opportunity. So day 7, day 8, day 9, I'll earn an opportunity. I've killed a lot of bulls and bucks on the last hour of the last day just because I continue to put forth effort, because I believe in myself, I believe in my skills, and I believe that I can make it happen because I've done it before. And so, yeah, I definitely, doubt creeps in. I run into tough conditions. Sometimes on a hunt, it feels like there is no way I'm going to be able to arrow a bull on this hunt, but I'm going to give it my all. So if I don't arrow a bull, I can put my head down at night and know that I gave it my absolute all on this hunt. And there's a lot of these hunts for a Montana, a big mature 6-point bull where I had 20 days in, or last year I drew a Shiras moose tag. I had 30 days into trying to kill that moose, and there was a lot of days where I never saw a moose, and I put thousands of dollars of gas money in my truck. I took so much time off work. Day in, day out, I continued to grind, and I used this system of glassing from vantage points. Driving roads is a big part of it as well, because you're covering a lot of country, and then also still hunting. And so this combination, but I just kept believing in the process and putting forth effort. And I wasn't going to shoot any bull. Like, you didn't have to be a world record, but I wanted to shoot a Shiras bull that I was proud of, that was a good mature bull. And eventually I got an opportunity, and moose aren't known as being the spookiest animal, but when you've been hunting 30 days and you finally find a shooter bull, like, I can't risk it. And so I was hunting this thing in a foot of snow, and I caught him in a willow bottom with a cow. And so I was wading through a foot of water through this in November. So it was super cold, 20 degrees out. And so I am soaking wet, and it took hours on this stock. And I finally got an opportunity, put a perfect arrow in the bull. He took 10 steps, put a perfect arrow in him the other side, and he died right there. Awesome. And it was like, it meant so much to me because I just continued to grind and put forth this effort. So 30 days later, here I am with my first moose, and it's a Shiras bull, just because of that belief and that effort and that day in, day out mentality. And eventually it paid off.
Yeah. So, I mean, that sounds great. That's a great story. But have you ever been, because the reason why I say this, I've done this before myself, where I've had so much success for so many years, and the failures people don't know about because I overcame them and still killed. But I've had hunts recently where I'm like, you already create this story, like, it's almost like an excuse. But a Texas whitetail hunt, which isn't supposed to be hard, but I had the hardest time last year. So I had created this story about, hey, sometimes hunts don't go. You can give all you got. You created this. You're already making this excuse about why you didn't kill, right? Or on the last bear hunt I just did, it's like, I could say, well, I was waiting for a big bear and I just didn't see one. So you kind of creating this ready-made story to make yourself feel better because there's a hint of what other people think because of you've had so much success. I mean, so you go through all these things, and I don't care. Well, I can't speak for other people. I just know I come across like I'm confident, I believe, I work hard, but still in my head, I can't lie to myself. And there's times where I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to get it done this time. How am I going to, people know I'm hunting. I'm going to make a post about it because I post about everything else. What am I going to say? And it's like, it almost feels weird worrying about it, but it's just part of the world we're in. And then, funny as it may seem, I had created this excuse in my head, and I overcame even that, my own brain, and still killed. Do you doubt yourself? Or do you, like on that moose hunt, had you already created like something you could say about why you didn't kill?
Yeah, there's always an excuse. There's always a reason, and you can put in that reason in your own mind at any point in time. But yeah, I mean, doubt starts to creep in. Here I am, 29 days hunting a moose, and I haven't got a chance at a bull, and the rut's over with. Now I'm into late season. It's general rifle season. The Orange Army is out there, and I'm still out with my bow trying to kill a moose, you know? And so yeah, there's definitely self-doubt that creeps in, and it's just like, that's the test.
Could you have used a rifle?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so it's any weapon.
Yeah. I could have used a rifle from the very beginning or even towards the end. But for me, it's bow only. Yeah.
Okay.
There's just no other way I want to do it with any species I hunt. It's so intimate. It's like, you know, and rifle hunting is great for experience, and it's great to see some success. But for me, it's like a rifle hunt ends at 200 yards, and a bow hunt is just beginning. It's a higher level of hunting. It's a higher level of skill set that's needed. And really, for me to use a rifle, for you to use a rifle, it'd be cheating. It'd be way too easy, you know. And so, like, once you get to a point, it's like it's bow or nothing. So I hunt a lot of general rifle seasons with my bow. All my late season rut mule deer, it's general rifle season out, and guys with orange, and I have my orange and my bow. And you talk about some funny looks I get, you know, walking around with my bow with orange, and it's legal in Montana and a lot of these states. But just putting this higher degree of difficulty on myself. But yeah, I mean, I think doubt creeps in for all of us. Like, that's what we're trying to overcome. And you have these, you know, we call them excuses. Maybe they're legit reasons, like, oh, it was so hot, it was so smoky, I couldn't glass, or gosh, the weather came in and it got nasty and it was a snowstorm for 4 days. There's always a reason or an excuse that we're unsuccessful, and you can put that in your own mind, or you just continue to put forth effort. And so for me, for that moose, it wasn't so much self-doubt, like, yeah, I'd hate to post a picture of a sunset and tell you how I wasn't successful because of this reason and that reason. But the reality is like, these hunts are really tough, and that might happen. I have to be okay with it. So for me, it was almost the mindset of like, I'm not going to get this tag again. It took me 20 some years to draw this tag. I am going to get the most out of this experience. I am going to go every single day I have the chance. I'm going to put all my effort in. If I don't kill one, I saw over 40 moose. I passed smaller bulls, and that's how it happened. But I am going to give it my absolute all, everything I have, till the very last day of the season. And if that's the way it goes down, then you'll see a pretty fucking sunset, and it won't happen, you know. But it did happen because effort pays off. And if you keep that mentality of keep putting forth effort, you don't take the easy way. Like, I could have started like not putting effort forth, like, oh, I'm just cruising roads, or I'm just going through the motions. But instead, every day I believe I'm going to find a bull. This might be the one. This might be the day. And the day I killed that bull, so I had a rule. Moose are so big and so heavy, and I don't ask for help. So I don't call a bunch of people to help me pack it. It's like, if I kill a moose, and I did have help packing it out. I had a buddy that came and helped me, but I'm not the one that's going to call everybody I know to try to pack it out. Like, it's on me. And so I made these rules. Okay, well, I can't, you know, a moose is so big, so heavy. I might be by myself. I don't have horses. So my rule is 2 miles from the road. That's where I want to kill one at. And so, you know, I was 3 miles in when I found the bull, of course, you know, and then killed him back there, because that's the way it goes. But just continuing to put forth effort to find that bull, and eventually it comes to fruition. It's like, effort pays off, and it might not be, you might be on a tough hunt and give your all and it doesn't come through, but to put that effort throughout that entire hunt, and then on the next hunt, like, you're going to see success. Effort pays off.
Yeah. It's I think that's, you know, you saying that is maybe why we've connected even from afar, because of that mindset, the bow only mindset. It's not something everybody has. I mean, as just like with you, a lot of my hunts, because they're landowner tags or they're, you know, different tags, it's any weapon, right? I mean, if you go to Santa Carlos, you can use a rifle, you know, I mean, and it's, or like, say, the place I hunt in Utah, rifles are legal, right? But there's something about bow only that, I mean, it's hard. And it's like, I could see, like, on your moose hunt, I could see people in the same situation saying, yeah, I bow hunted, and they would make it sound, I passed up some bulls with the bow. but I wanted something special. I could have killed him with a bow, but instead I found this big one and killed it with a rifle. And so then they kind of save face because they're saying that, oh, they could have had success with the bow, but they didn't want to because the bull wasn't big enough. But so this is a story they're spinning. But with the attitude of it's bow only or nothing, that's a different level. That's a special mindset. And I remember, the hunting industry can be funny, but I remember I was in Utah and I hit this buck and I hit it a little back. Let me think what I did. Yeah, I hit it a little back. So this deer, I thought it was going to be, I'd go get him. He'd be bedded up. It turned into a rodeo. I was hunting this outfit. This is late. This is in November. I'm the last hunter. They're pulling up everything. They're getting out of there. So they can't leave until I'm done hunting, right? And I hit this buck. Everybody knew I'd hit this buck. So they're like, I could easily, the buck went in and bedded down kind of in this aspen grove and could easily have taken a rifle and finished it, right? And that's probably what a lot of people would have done. And maybe that would have been fine too. That's 100% legal. You could do that. But I'm like, no, I don't, hey, we got a rifle right here. You want to get that buck killed? I'm like, I'm going to get it killed, but I'm going to get it killed with my bow. And it took it was like a long stalk. And then I had the buck spotted and I boots off and I'm like, so slow. I could have shot it many times with the rifle and it took forever to get in. And I got so close to that deer. I got it might've been 17 yards, eased over, shot him, got him killed, got the buck. But it's like, what that's like, what that situation would be like. And I just think most people would be like, yeah. And maybe even some of them would have shot it with the gun and still had their bow there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Can't do it. I mean, it's like, the biggest regret of my hunting career probably is the grizzly hunt that they had to shoot out with the gun because I, fucking made a poor shot. And it's just like, I can't even hardly get over that memory. And it's been one time in 34 years of bow hunting and one time. And that's like, it just haunts me. So it's like, I love your approach to bow only. And that's my thoughts on it. It's like, and I think that really, it's a small group of people who share that mindset. Mm-hmm. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it is. It's so much more difficult. And it isn't just about killing some big animal. With me, it's, bow hunting, it's in our DNA. Like hunting is the reason why humans survived the last 200,000 years. And so it's like there's something in your DNA, and the most intimate experience in nature you can get is this predator-prey relationship. And it's this in close proximity of these animals that are so turned on and like so switched on, and their instincts are so keen, and the only thing they're thinking about is survival. To get in and to make those right moves and keep that element of surprise and to be so close to that animal, it is so visceral. It's like this experience that can't even be described by words like us sitting on the podcast. It is so intense to have your heart beating out of your chest, being so close and having that buck or bull not know you're there, and then try to keep your stuff together to deliver a perfect arrow. It is like difficult to harness that. It's like one thing to be a really good shot on a target. It's another thing to be able to transition that to be a really good shot on animals. And this is like, it's like really harnessing this power of your mind and harnessing this control over body and everything you have. And it's so difficult that it feels so good when you have success that you've worked so hard for. It's like climbing Everest. And once you have those feelings that you have gotten close and you have arrowed this great buck that you're proud of and done everything right, whether it took you a 10-day hunt or whether it took you 5 years of applying all this effort to kill this buck, like that's our Everest. And so once you climb Everest and you get those those feelings and the satisfaction of being able to overcome all these challenges and put it all on the field and come out on top. Like after you have that, it's like everything else, it just wouldn't be the same. I don't need to post some picture of some great big buck or bull I killed with a rifle. That means nothing to me. To get in close and put a perfect arrow, that's something I'm immensely proud of that I want to share with our community and share with my friends and family because I'm proud of it. The effort it took, the control it took, everything that went into this hunt, the challenges that I faced, being immersed in nature and all the elements and coming out on top. Like that's my Everest, and that's what drives me year after year is to go have these adventures. And man, these adventures are out there for everybody out there. And it's to be able to, like, life is so nerfed now. It's like you go get water from your tap, you have a comfortable house that maybe it's AC controlled, you've got heat in the wintertime, you get in your vehicle, you drive to and from work, like it's so protected, you've got your seat belts, everything fairly safe. And don't get me wrong, like car wrecks or major accidents that can happen, but to immerse yourself out there in nature where your decisions directly affect your safety, and like you have to have you have to make good decisions, and you have to go out. You really get to test yourself physically and mentally. Like you get to embark on an adventure, and that's available for everybody to go do and embark on. And like once you do that and are fulfilled by these moments out there, like in the most extreme places in the lower 48, like you probably hooked like me and you are, where you just can't get enough of it, and it drives you to be a better person and a better bow hunter. And really, it feels like what I was put here to do. Like it's directly tied to my DNA, I think.
Yeah, and I think, you talk about how safe society is and comfortable, and it's like, it reminds me of the Goggins quote. It's like, I think we're always going to have a place for those adventures, because as Goggins says, it's so easy to be great nowadays because everybody else is a pussy. and it's like as society gets easier to live, to survive, then those adventures are going to be, hard. That's a big gap from somebody who's got an easy life to somebody who loves a challenge, and us over here are going to be still enjoying it. One thing, I think that I'm so lucky in that, and I don't know what type of people you were around, but I was around Roy growing up, who has, it's the same bow only mindset. Wayne, you met Wayne, and it's, archery is, we've never even talked about a gun or a rifle or a shell or like any caliber, anything. It's like archery only for life. And I was pretty lucky to grow up around those guys. And I loved you meeting Wayne, because you got the full Wayne experience, a full herd bull experience. I don't think you ever met Roy, did you?
Nope.
Yeah. You would have, God, Roy, everything we're talking about, Roy was the one. He was the one that set the standard for all this mindset, all this shit, everything we're talking about. Roy, you would have loved listening to every word he said. But I'm so thankful you got to meet Wayne yesterday. Tell me about Wayne.
Oh man.
And today you saw him.
Oh yeah. Wayne is, he's incredible, man. He runs, the Bow Rack, right? That's the bow shop.
Yep.
Man, it is a 1 in 100 or 1 in 1,000 bow shops. That Wayne has so much passion for bow hunting and so much passion for archery, and his knowledge is so vast. Like, I know a lot about bows and bow tuning and accuracy. I've worked my whole life and gone deep down the rabbit hole of it. And Wayne knows multiples more than I do. Just so knowledgeable, good with working with him, because he sees thousands of those bows, and his passion for it, and his confidence in what he believes in those bows, and then his willingness to share that information. And man, I was just so impressed, and then I was really glad that I got to have a conversation with him today, about some bow hunting and some places that he hunts and chasing elk around. Like, man, I could talk to that guy all day long. Like, he's got that same passion for archery and bow hunting. So it's no surprise that his shop is doing great and really blowing up because it's better than every bow shop that I've ever been to just by the leadership there. So yeah, he's one of a kind, man. What a great human being and great guy for the archery industry and great buddy of yours. And anybody that has Wayne set up a bow for him, consider yourself lucky. You are getting years of knowledge put into that bow. And not only that, but he cares. He's like, it isn't good enough. He tweaked with the timing on my bow yesterday for 25 minutes, going back and forth with strings twisting and just like absolutely micro adjusting because he was not satisfied with it until it was absolutely perfect. And that was pretty incredible to see. So I definitely took some knowledge away just from what he showed me yesterday. So it's going to make me a better bow hunter in the end, just this short interaction that I got with him,
Yeah.
And so super impressed, man. That guy's one of a kind.
He is. And I saw, and I'm not saying your bow wasn't shooting accurate before, but I saw it today in person and you broke the balloon at 174 yards. And then not only that, because that's just kind of getting a spot to hold and that it is hard. One mistake at that distance and you're missing the whole target, but you did amazing there. But then once we got in even closer where now it's like, I can't remember what we shot at, but 90 yards on an elk and we're like, oh, an inch high. You know what I mean? And so we're like, oh yeah, pretty good shot, but an inch high. It's like 90 yards, but it's like that type of not many people can be that precise with a bow. And you were today. And, we were shooting those closer shots, but still long shots in the grand scheme of things for archery and just talking about inches of precision. Mm-hmm. And I saw your bow was just so accurate. I was so impressed with your shooting. I think your mindset is top notch. I think your shooting is right there. And it's no wonder you've had this success because with those two and then the passion, that's our goal. And I've heard you say it. I remember I said it to Dan Staten when he came down here. My goal, and I don't give a fuck. You can criticize everything I do, my approach, where I hunt, how I hunt, what I say, which you can't deny. I am undeniable. I will get shit killed every time, no matter what you say. And I see that in you. I see, and I've heard you say it too. Your goal is to be undeniable, right? Regardless of circumstances. Is that, do we share that mindset?
100%, man. I love that. It fires me up. Yeah. That's exactly right. Is you want to show up to the trailhead of any hunt, of any unit and be undeniable. And man, I hunt, it's competitive nowadays. Like a lot of guys want these quality hunts. So, the majority of places I hunt are over the counter. They're easy to draw 1 to 3 point units. And you're showing up at the trailhead, like Montana success rates on a bull elk with a bow and arrow are 6%. Mm-hmm. 1 in 20 guys fill their tag that year. And that's just a bull elk. That's not a mature 6 point bull elk. So what are the odds when you go to
1%?
A big 1%. But somehow I'm able to buck the odds year after year after year because of the work that I put in. And it's the preparation, like you said, it's the mindset, it's the shooting, it's the physical fitness, it's the instincts that you hone to make the right moves at the right times. It's, all these different facets come into play to be successful. And so you have to be really well-rounded, but you have to be good at each one of these. And so I put in the work, dedicated myself for the last 20, 25 years to bow hunting. And so when I show up to a trailhead, yes, I feel like I'm undeniable, the same way you show up for a hunt and feel like you've put in all the necessary work and you show up and no matter which challenge you're going to face, what hurdles are going to be in front of you, what conditions you're going to come across, you are going to find a way. And that's the exact same mentality I have. I am going to find a way, one way or another, to be successful.
Yeah. And I think, it's easy for people to take shots like where I hunt because I've worked my ass off to hunt the very best fucking elk country. It's like, I'm not going to apologize. It's like, it's taken a lot of sacrifice to get these opportunities. But even for you, people could say, well, you work with Eastman, so you got the inside scoop on all these areas, and it's no wonder. And people could say, oh, well, if I had those opportunities, well, anybody could do that. I'm like, oh, fucking show me then. Anybody could, so you could, then fucking do it. I don't see anybody doing it. I don't see anybody killing a bunch of big bulls every year. I don't see people mimicking your success. So could anybody do it? Or is that just you talking out your ass?
Anybody can, if they have the passion and they apply themselves wholeheartedly. Like, it is, the opportunity is out there. And you get to hunt some great places for the biggest bulls around, but those bulls don't know you're Cameron Haynes. Those bulls don't know what you've achieved, and they're still wild animals with keen instincts that get hunted all year long, and you're hunting them in wild country. Like, those elk, those mule deer have, they've evolved from thousands of years from avoiding mountain lions and bears. And a mountain lion is way sneakier than I could ever hope to be, to jump on their back and kill them with tooth and claws. And so these animals have evolved for all these years. And you don't hunt these places because elk are easy. You hunt these places to have a chance at a mature bull elk. And these mature bull elk that you are killing that are 10 years old or older, man, they have been called to every way from Sunday. They have been chased by every different bow hunter out there. Like, they have survived all these years because their instincts are so keen, and you're able to go out there and match wits with those animals and put a perfect arrow into them. Like, the only reason you're able to do that is because you have worked tirelessly at your craft to be at your absolute best when you hit the trails or hit the mountains. So is it available to everybody out there? Absolutely, 100%. You're not going to achieve it in the first year. You're going to have to put 20 years in, like me and you have. You're going to have to go fail. You're going to have to miss shots. You're going to have failed hunts. You're going to have times where you can't find an animal. You're going to have times where you can't stalk an animal. You run into hunting pressure. You're going to have to face all these challenges that me and you have faced over the years and overcome them year after year. You're going to have to work on your skill sets to be the very best bow hunter you can be, and then you can achieve it. Absolutely, 100%. We're nothing special. At least I'm not.
It's a long grind. No, I know I'm nothing special. It's just taken, 34 years, So, I mean, if you're expecting overnight success, you need to probably play the lottery, I guess, because bow hunting is not the key. But you know what? So we talk about the difficulty, and we talk about that anybody can do it. And I want to just reference, I just had that lift, run, shoot event here this last weekend, and it's like incredible. But also, you've been involved in a similar type of event with Ryan Lampers, right? And what, the Western Hunting Summit, or what is it? Is that
exactly. Western Hunting Summit.
So tell me about the guys you have coming there, and what's so empowering about that experience for you and for them.
Yeah, it's mentorship. It's being able to mentor these guys and get them on the right path. And actually, the deal is you can get there way quicker than I did, like being able to learn from guys like you and guys like me. And so Lampers had this idea for these summits for mentoring, and he does such a great job at bringing in like really knowledgeable hunters. And so I've done every summit with him, and we get a group of 20 to 30 guys that come in that are hungry to learn and become better. And so these guys sit in on this information, and they're able to shoot 3D courses. We're able to do big hikes and big rucks together. We did one bear summit where we covered like over 60 miles in 3 days. And we take these guys backpacking, and we teach them all the skills and teach them a lot of these lessons that we've learned over the years. And so, it's been really fulfilling. And then, I give these guys my contact information. They're able to text me or ask me questions that apply directly to their hunting. But yeah, I've seen some guys come into these courses and to just grab hold of this mindset, grab hold of like everything that I'm telling them, everything that Lampers is telling them, be able to become one of these consistently successful bow hunters just by adopting like these Same things that we're talking about today. And really, it all starts with your mind. You just have to decide that's what you want. You have to decide that you're going to work towards it every single day and give it your best. So I've seen guys come into this summit. We've been doing it for 7 or 8 years now. And now some of these guys are just as successful as I am each and every year because they're putting in the work, because they're honing their craft, because they're improving it. And they can actually, like the next generation will get there quicker than I did because they have podcasts to learn from, they have guys to learn from, they have all this information that they can apply to their own hunting, which then they can cut their learning curve so they don't have to make every single mistake I made. They're going to make some mistakes and have to learn from them, but they're able to get there a lot quicker. And it's all just because they want it, and they go for it. And now it's been amazing to see these guys come up and be consistently successful.
Yeah, it's so fun sharing what we love with other people who are just as interested. They don't have the experience, but that's, they're going to earn that because there's no shortcut to experience. But just knowing that they're on the right path, and this hurdle or this challenge, yes, we faced this too, and here's how we overcame it. So it makes them feel better that sometimes people fail and they're just be like, maybe I just suck. No, you don't just suck. Everybody has done this, but we have to push through. I just really like, I don't know Ryan Lampers that much, but I follow him and I love what he stands for. Hillary seems great. I mean, his wife, she's been great. It seems like that event and that bringing people together like that, I just love that you're involved, because if you're talking to the guys, they're getting the real story. You know what I mean? And it's great to see. I know on this last one, people are, they just want to hang around authentic people who love what we love. And it's just like, man, it's so empowering and energizing. And it just fills my soul to see people. I was with, 100 people for 3 days, didn't hear one negative word. It was crazy. It was like, it makes all this, I don't know, it gives the best feeling to me. And it seems like, man, I think about the long journey and all the struggles and all the doubt and all the people trying to keep you down. And it's like, and it was for this, and it's like, that's okay. Because if this was a reward, I'm good. It's all worth it.
That event looked amazing, man.
Yes.
You had some really good speakers in there and different subject matter. Those guys are going to be able to take that information and run with it, and they're going to see success. They're cutting their learning curve. It's like, yeah, you can put 10 years of grinding in the mountains and make every mistake like I did, or you can come to one of these events and learn from these consistently successful hunters and cut that learning curve by multiple years to start seeing that success sooner. So these guys that are coming to these events, they're taking the first step to self-improvement and they're embracing it. You put them through the ringer of tough times of runs and workouts and shooting. And shooting, it's not just like shooting in your flip-flops in your backyard. You got the herd bull standing over you telling you everything you're doing wrong. Like you got to drop your ego a bit. And these guys are willing to do that and willing to put in the work to be great. And since, because of that, they will be great.
Yeah, I was curious. We're going to wrap this up here pretty soon because I'm going to take you out to Wayne's. I love showing Wayne's barn and all his archery history, and I know you would appreciate it. I haven't taken any guest out there yet because, a lot of the people are new, but the history of archery is so special. And as Wayne says, the history of archery is the history of mankind. So I want to show you this, but I was interested in hearing. So if you think about where you started to where you are now, because what I see now is just a phenomenal shot, dedicated to being in great physical condition and a student of the game, right? So what's the biggest difference from where you started to how you got here? What did that take? I mean, think about how you shot back in the day. What did you change to be a great shooter?
To be a great shooter, you have to be willing to make change. You have to be willing to drop your ego, and any change in your form, you have to get a little bit worse before you get better. So you make a form change and all of a sudden you're not shooting as good as you used to. You're shooting worse, but you know that that's the correct move to your form, and that if you continue with it, you will rise above it and be better than you ever have been. And so I think I've just gone deep down the rabbit hole. I'm willing to ask questions. I'm willing to drop my ego and take advice from people. I'm just constantly taking in knowledge from good shooters, people that are better shooters than me. And I put in the work, like day in, day out. I put the arrows down range. I learn from it. I'm not afraid to put twists in my bows. I'm not afraid to work on my bows. I'm not afraid to make change. And so I think it's just my dedication to the craft and my being a student of the game, like always wanting to be at my very best. And so I think that's a lot of it is just my approach to it. The work I've put in adds up over the years, and putting so much effort into being good at archery, because I know every successful hunt comes down to making a shot. So I have to be my best, and I'm not to there's more improvement for me down the road. I want to continue to improve and continue to put in the work, continue to learn, continue to get better, because there's no limit to where you can go in bow hunting and in life. Like there's no ceiling. It's one of the things I love about it is that you can continue to improve and continue to show up at the trailhead and be even better, and so there's still better shots than me out there, and so there's still improvement to be made. There's knowledge to be gained, and so I'm going to continue on the same path that I've been on. But it is just those things that I think makes me the shooter that I am, and also shooting high pressure situations. Like shooting next to Cameron Haynes, or shooting next to Wayne Endicott, or shooting in front of a group of people, or really putting the pressure on myself to make a good shot. Like that comes, like that helps when you're shooting at a big bull or a big buck. And then also like transitioning, I said it once on the podcast, but you can be a great shot on a target, but then you have to transition that great shooting to one arrow on an animal and being a great shot on an animal. And that's the really tough transition that people have trouble with. And so for me, it's been a lot of experience. Like I hunt a lot of high opportunity places. So not all my kills are great big bucks or great big bulls. Like I've killed a bunch of white-tailed does. I hunt antelope every year. I hunt axis deer. Like hunting different species in different environments improves your skill set in different ways. And so, I hunt coos deer down on the border. I hunt like anything they'll let me hunt with my bow, I'm going to go hunt it. And then, like just getting that execution or that trigger time, like being able to execute good shots on animals, like then you start to really hone that skill to where you can be at your very best. And also like not getting rattled or shook up with big antlers, It's like, been here before. I know what I need to do. I know what my job is. I know I need to execute a shot. But really, it's like experience has been a great teacher for me. I don't know how many white-tailed does I've killed, but they give me 5 tags in Montana, and stalking white-tailed does down there in the river bottom improves your skill set, improves your shooting. And so when you execute perfect shots on them like that, that really transposes and really helps when shooting at other animals. And so, experience has been a big part of my success. But yeah, I'd say that's kind of my archery journey for sure.
Yeah, that makes, as I don't know, interesting as it sounds, to get good at killing, you got to kill. That's all there is to it. And if that's our goal when we go out with the bow, yes, we want the journey, we want their memories, but hey, we're trying to get an animal on the ground because of what it offers our life and sustaining our life with the meat that we get from that hunt. But it's an animal's dying, and to get good at it, you got to kill it. I like that high pressure mention you had, and that's that mimics what I've thought for a long time. When Cabela's opened here in town, my hometown, they said, "Do you want to come cut the ribbon to open the building?" And I said, "Well, no, but I'll shoot it." And so I came up with this plan to shoot the grand opening ribbon. And I loved having all those TV cameras around and the big crowd of people. And yeah, it'd look really bad if you screw that up. But that's the pressure it's different than with an animal, but we're dealing with a lot of pressure in an intense moment. And so that simulates it a little bit. And as you said, it's like you can recreate that with the people you're around, with the pressure you put on yourself, maybe the situation like the Cabela's grand opening. But yeah, that's the key. And it's like there is no formula for becoming the best bow hunter in the world. There's a lot of different things you can do, and it's going to be hard, and you're going to have to earn it, and you're going to have to get that experience. But man, there's just mostly being immersed in the lifestyle and appreciating what archery is and what bow hunting is. And it's a never ending process. You know, I mean, I killed 11 animals last year, and it's not like I can just be like, oh, that's perfect, 11 for 11. No, I'm thinking about, I hit a whitetail buck lower than I wanted. Made perfect shots on a few bulls, a couple bulls. I could have made better shots. I got them killed. So if I just focused on the kill, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm perfect. No, I can be better. I screwed up. I made it harder than it needed to be. And I don't want that animal to suffer. And because of me, I could have made that suffering less. And so I'm like, I put a lot of pressure on myself. No, I need to be better. I can't just focus on, yeah, it worked out. No, there's these little things that we can improve on and we can focus on instead of just focusing on, oh, I punched my tag. It's like, no, this is like a never ending process of improvement.
Makes me smile, man. It's like, it's why you're great. It's the drive to become better. And it's easy to have that motivation and to have it wane and just go, yeah, I'm good enough. I killed 11 animals next year. I'm just gonna, I'll kill some more this year. It's like easy to rest on your laurels. It's easy to look at your mounts in here, to look at the mounts in my house and say, yeah, I'm a great bow hunter. Man, I'm good. I'll be good this year. I'll figure it out. But instead, you just get back to the grind and you put in the work, this inner motivation, this inner drive, this student of the game, always wanting to improve and always wanting to get better. Like, that's why we're successful. That inner drive, man.
Yeah.
That's it. You nailed it.
Yeah. Well, Brian, thank you so much for coming all the way out to Oregon. It's been, you say you follow me coming up. It's been an honor having you out here because I really respect you and I look up to you and I respect what you've built for yourself and just the way you go about it and your mindset. It's, there's not a lot of people in the hunting industry that I think get me or that I respect, in turn, but you are one of them. Thank you very much. You are an outlier in this game that we call bow hunting, and I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much, man. It's been amazing. So yeah, it's my pleasure, and just can't thank you enough for having me on and sharing the mountain with me. And man, your trail run is just amazing too. How you have all those trailheads linked together to those road systems. That was a really special run that I can't stop thinking about. And you're able to take me to some dark places, which is really good. I had to grind to get it in the end. But I can't thank you enough.
All right. Take care.
Yep.
Thanks.
Every step I take, I move my truth. Every time they tell me stop, I use. Every comment, hate that makes my fuel. Gather up my energy and boom. I hear them talking, saying the way that I move is so reckless. That is a part of my mind I've been blessed with. Giving my blood, so I am relentless. My fault, they want someone to blame. They sent their hate, it fuels my pace. I am Roy Tough, I am the change, the fuel in dirt. Feeling like Cam Hanes.